couple of blocks and a yoga strap. You can also have a blanket handy in case any of the poses feel more comfortable resting on a blanket. So otherwise, let's come down onto our backs, and we'll just take a couple of moments here to connect with the breath, to wake the body up. All right, so go ahead and close the eyes. We're creating length in the back of the neck by tucking the chin in slightly. Take the attention down to the shoulders, the neck, the jaw, and see what you can let go of. See what you can just melt and release. And send that awareness down into the low back, the abdomen, the hip region. And again, see what you can release, let go of, set it aside for after this practice. Inhale completely through the nose, filling up the lungs as much as they'll take. And then exhale, just let it go, soften, release. And then begin to find a breathing pattern that feels normal for you. So no rules, no extra things to focus on here, just breathe. And as you begin to settle, begin to draw the breath in deeper to the belly, expanding the rib cage. And then exhale, begin to deepen or elongate the exhale. One more breath. Excellent job. Extend both legs out long and crisscross your left foot over your right ankle. Slide both of your feet off to the right side of your mat. Reach the arms overhead and grab onto your left wrist. Slide the upper body to the right side of the mat. So we're creating this C shape in the body. Taking a few deep breaths here, breathing into the left side, creating space, releasing those lines of tension. And then come back to center. We'll uncross the ankles, crisscrossing the right foot over this time. Slide both of your feet off to the left side and reverse your grip of the hand on the wrist. Slide the upper body off to the left side of your mat this time. So we're creating length throughout the side of the right side of the body here. Breathe deeply into that space. You can let the hands rest on the ground overhead. And then we'll release to come back through center. Uncross your feet. Take both of your yoga blocks. We're going to bend both knees, placing the feet flat on the ground. And then let the knees fall open, taking the soles of the feet together. So reclined cobbler's pose or reclined bound angle pose. To make this a little more of a restorative pose, we can take your blocks and place them underneath the thighs to give you some support so you can truly rest in this pose. Take one hand to the heart and one hand to the belly. Begin to let go, relax, and breathe. Releasing tension in the pelvic floor and the groin area. And let's take 3 more deep breaths. Releasing the hands by your side. You can use the hands to press the knees back up to center. Move your blocks off to the side for a moment. Okay. Take the arms out into a T position and widen your feet to the edges of your yoga mat. Cross your right foot over the left knee and allow both knees to drop down toward the ground. You can let the hip pop up off the ground. We're just creating some rotational movement in the spine, stretching the outer left hip. You might feel some sensations in the front of the thigh. Relax, let go, breathe. Unwind from this twist and step that right foot back onto the ground. Other side, crisscross the left foot over the right knee and let both knees come down to the side. Letting that hip pop up off the ground, letting the spine get a gentle twist. Relax, let go, breathe. And let's release, placing both feet flat on the floor. Hug both knees into your chest. Okay, so grabbing right around the shins. We're going to peel the forehead up toward the knees. Inhale, exhale, inhale. And then exhale, continue to hug that right knee into the chest as you extend that left leg out long. Take a moment here to just feel that length in the hip. Taking the knee in the right hand, lower that right knee down and out to the side. Taking that knee across the body, grabbing onto it with the left hand. Right arm comes out into a T as you deepen that twist. Feeling a stretch in the outer hip. Breathe. And then let's release to come back to center. Grabbing that right knee with right hand, begin to draw some circles with the knee. Getting some fluid moving in that hip joint. And then pause for a moment and reverse your direction. Great job. Hug both knees back up to the chest. Take a moment to notice the differences between right hip and left hip. Peel the forehead up toward the knees, squeezing that core. Holding, hold, hold. And then continue to hug the left knee into the chest as you extend the right leg out long. Draw that left knee down out to the side. Take that knee and cross it over the body, catching it with the right hand, and take a twist off to the right side of your mat. Take a couple of moments here just to feel some ease here. And then release it to come back up to center. Grabbing onto that knee with the left hand, begin to draw circles with the knee, getting into the hip joint. And then pause for a moment and let's reverse your direction. Great job. Place both feet flat on the floor, bending the knees. Walking the heels up toward your seat. You're going to press the hands into the ground as you float the hips up toward the ceiling for this bridge pose. Bring an awareness to the back of the hips. See what you can activate there. Can you lift the hips up a little higher? And notice what you feel in the glute muscles. Okay. If there's any cramping here, that's not necessarily a bad thing. That might just mean we need to walk the heels a little closer to your seat. Hold, continue to breathe here, making that mind-body connection to the glutes. And then exhale, release the hips down to the ground. Inhale, and then exhale. And begin to make your way into tabletop, rolling off to one side, keeping the head heavy, moving with ease and intention. And then coming up onto those hands and knees. Begin to take a couple of rounds of cat-cow, expanding across the abdomen as you look up. And then exhale, pressing through the hands, rounding the spine, looking down to the thighs. Moving at your own pace here, find a cat-cow that feels good for you. Great job. Take the knees out to the sides of your mat, feet close together, send the hips back, and lower the forehead down to the ground into child's pose, extended child's pose. Wiggle the hips from side to side so that we can loosen up. Great job. Find some stillness, letting the belly rest between the thighs. Forehead sinks down to the ground. Inhale. Exhale, melt. And then rock the forehead from side to side, just massaging that space between the eyebrows. And then find stillness here. Checking in with the sensations of the body. What can you let go of? Is there any tension that's being held in the hips, the low back? Press up onto all 10 fingertips, tenting the fingers, and then peel your forehead off of the ground. Walk the fingertips off to the left side of your mat. Root the right hip down to the ground, feeling that expansion across the right side body. And then walk the fingertips back to center and off to the right side. Root the left hip down to the ground. Feel that expansion across the left side of the body this time. One deep inhale, and then exhale to walk the fingertips back to center. You're going to press up onto the hands, finding tabletop once again, walking the knees underneath the hips. Shift your way onto that left hand. Inhale to float the right hand up to the ceiling, and then exhale to thread that arm through, taking the right ear down to the ground. Try to level off your hips. Inhale, breathing into that shoulder space. Exhale, let go, relax. 2 more breaths. Inhale to sweep the left hand up overhead, and then you can reach that hand behind you, coming over to the opposite hip crest. This is a bind. We're looping that left shoulder down and back. Reach the left fingertips up to the ceiling and then back down to the floor to unwind from this twist. Inhale, floating that right hand up to the ceiling, and then exhale, taking it back down to the ground. Excellent job. Other side, shifting your weight onto the right hand now. Inhale, float the left arm up. Exhale, threading that arm through, taking that left ear down to the floor. Breathing into that shoulder space. And then shifting your weight onto that right hand. Inhale, float the left arm up. And then exhale, release everything to the ground. Okay, if you need to take a moment to kind of roll out the wrists, we're going to be here for another series. So definitely taking care of those wrists. All right. So then coming back down onto tabletop, let's stamp that left foot up toward the ceiling. Exhale, rotate the hip, taking the knee out to the side, shin is parallel with the ground. Hold, hold, hold. Right hip should be stacked over the knee. And then release down toward the ground. And we'll take that 2 more times. Stamp the foot up, shift out to the side, shin parallel, and then release to the ground. 1 more. Stamp the foot up, shift out to the side, shin parallel, and then exhale, release, foot to the ground. Other side. Right foot stamps up to the ceiling. Draw belly into the spine to keep a nice flat back. Rotate that foot out to the side so that the shin is parallel with the ground. And then release down. 2 more. Stamp the foot up. Shift knee out to the side and back down. Last one here. And then place that knee on the ground. Begin to rock the hips back toward the heels. Inhale, press it back up to tabletop. Let's take that 4 more. Working your breath to the movement. Great job. Tabletop, step the left foot out to the side. Foot is flat, toe points forward. Level off the hips as you begin to rock back and forth, just stretching out that inner thigh muscle. 4 and 5. Great job. Taking that knee underneath the hip. Step your right foot out to the side. This time, rocking back and forth. Excellent. So coming up into a tall kneeling position, let's step the right foot out to the side. Kind of at a diagonal, hands come to hips. Begin to glide that knee over the ankle and come back. 3, 4, and 5. Great job. We are going to extend that leg out long. So once again, the foot is flat, toe points forward, knee is straight. Place the hand on the knee and reach that arm up and over for a side body stretch. And then release, taking that hand to the floor, reaching the other hand up and over. And then release to come back up to a tall kneeling position. Take the other side. So step that foot out, bending the knee, hands to hips as you begin to glide that knee over the ankle and back. And 5. Nice job. Straightening that knee out, pointing the toe forward. Take the hand to the knee and sweep the arm up and over for a side body stretch. And then release to come back up, taking the hand to the floor, arm reach the up and over. And then release to come back up to center. Coming back down onto the hands and knees, tabletop. We're going to tuck the toes, hover the knees, and send the hips up and back to downward facing dog. You can keep your knees bent for this first down dog. Pedaling the heels out, just alternating, straightening right leg, left leg. Goal here is to keep the shoulders relaxed, keep the head heavy. And then find a moment of stillness. Maybe you can straighten those knees a little more without compromising the length of the spine. And then take the gaze forward, marching the feet up to meet the hands at the top of your mat, and we'll meet in flat back. Sliding the hands up the shins, loop the shoulders down and back, and pull the chest forward. We're here, we're holding. Inhale, sweep both arms up overhead, and then exhale, take the hands to heart center. Shift your weight onto the right foot. We're finding our tree pose. So it doesn't matter where the foot is today. What I want to focus on today is how much can you push that knee open? So we really have to dig deep into the deep parts of the outer hip to do that. So just feel that experience. Take a couple moments, continue holding that contraction in the hip. Even if you come out of balance, come right back into it. Exhale, hinge at the hips and step the foot back behind you. We're finding warrior two, reaching the arms out long. Fingertip to fingertip as you soften the shoulders down and away from the ears. Okay, find that activation here in the thigh. Find it deep in the outer hip. Flip the front palm up to the ceiling. Exhale, reverse warrior. And we're finding a flow here. So warrior two to extended side angle. Back up to warrior two, reverse warrior. Back up to warrior two, extended side angle. Now try to focus on your breath here as we go through this 2 more times. Excellent job. Meet me in warrior two. Find some stillness here and then straighten that front knee. Take the hands to the hips for a moment. Great job. You can heel toe that back foot in just a little bit to shorten your stance. Shift the hips to the back of the room and engage that outer hip. So we're squeezing. There's a theme here. Extend the arms out long and begin to glide forward as you keep that hip locked. Take the back of the hand inside the knee and float the left arm up to the ceiling, really reaching up, pressing through the fingertips. Breathe. Press up through those fingertips and step off the back foot to come up to the top of your mat. I'm just going to turn so you can see me. Shifting on to the left foot now, we're taking our tree pose on the other side. Once again, the focus here is how much can you press that knee open? Getting some strength in the hip rotators. And we're here, we're holding. Continue to engage that outer hip. Find your breath. And then exhale, step that foot back behind you. Sink down into the front thigh. Okay. Extend the arms out long, but soften the shoulders away from those ears. Flip the front palm up to the ceiling. Exhale, reverse warrior. Back hand to back knee. Back up through warrior two for extended side angle. Flowing between these two motions, trying to connect the breath to the movement here. And I know you might be saying, well, what the heck is that? How do I do that? It's really just finding a rhythm that works for you. And then meet me in warrior two. Find some stillness, find some ease, find some strength here. Exhale, take the hands to the hips and straighten the front knee. You can heel toe that back foot in to shorten your stance. Extend the arms out to the side and bump the hips to the back of your mat. Engage that outer hip. As you begin to glide the torso forward, take the hand inside the knee and float that back hand up to the ceiling. Try to keep that hip locked. Okay, so we're not hanging out. Okay. And then press up through the fingertips, stepping off that back foot to come up to the top of your mat. So we want to get our yoga blocks in line so that we can use them for our lunge. Okay. So once you're ready, we'll inhale, sweep both hands up overhead. Exhale, hinge forward at the hips. Inhale, flat back, sliding the hands up the shins. Loop the shoulders down and back to peel the chest forward. Long line from the crown of the head all the way down to the tailbone. Bring your attention to this awareness because this length in the spine is what we want to carry over into our lunges. Okay. So what I mean by that, if we bend the knees, take the hands to your blocks on the tall side. Step the right foot back, feet on railroad tracks. Sink the hips down. And then peel the chest up. So we have that long line here. Okay, continue to hold and breathe here. Squaring off the hips. Feeling that deep stretch in the front of the thigh. Sink it down a little lower. And then lower that back knee to the ground and untuck the toe. Okay. Let's sweep both hands up overhead, finding some stability and balance here. Couple of breaths. You can hold here, or we can lace the fingers behind the hips. Press the fingertips down toward the ground, expanding across the chest. Excellent. You can release the hands. Move your block off to the side for a moment, and we're heel-toeing that left foot off to the edge of your mat. Okay, so that knee is kind of going out at a diagonal. Right hand reaches up and over. Squeeze the right glute to deepen your stretch. Two more breaths. And then release to come back up. Heel toe that foot back into the middle of your mat. Great job. Move your blocks up to the top of your mat once again. Okay. Plant both hands on the floor. We're going to sweep the left leg back behind you. Find your way into high plank. Okay, so really push the floor away, hollowing out that abdomen. And then we'll send the hips up and back, downward facing dog. This time you can keep those knees straight if that feels good. Take the gaze up between the hands. March the feet up to meet the hands at the top of your mat. Inhale, we'll come on up to a flat back. Exhale, softly bending both knees, taking the hands to the blocks. This time, stepping your left foot back behind you, sinking it down into a lunge. Okay, so press into those fingertips, peeling that chest up. Long line throughout the spine here. Lift your back kneecap to feel a stretch in the hip. And then exhale, release, taking that knee to the ground, untuck your toe. Then we'll sweep both arms overhead. Okay, this might be enough. Or we can lace the fingers behind the hips, pressing the fingertips down to the ground, opening up across the chest. You can release your hands and move your block off to the side, heel-toeing that right foot off to the edge of your yoga mat. Knee is at a diagonal. Reach the left arm up and over. Side body stretch. Release to come back up through center, heel-toeing your foot back into the middle of your mat. Okay, nice job. And we'll come down into a wide-legged seated position. So coming down onto your seat, extending both legs out long. Okay, so it doesn't matter how close or how far apart they are. What we want to pay attention to is how upward pointed can the knees be. So we're inhaling to lift up through the crown. Exhale to walk the fingertips forward. How long can you keep your spine here? All right, and then unhinging from the hips, sitting up tall. We're taking the sole of the right foot into the inner thigh. Back of the hand comes inside the knee as you reach the arm up and over. And then inhale, lift up, planting that right hand behind you. Sweep your left arm up, sending the hips and the arm up to the ceiling. And then exhale, release down to the ground. Other side, taking the left foot to the inner thigh. Back of the hand comes inside the knee as you reach that arm up and over. And then release to come back up to center. Plant your hand behind you and flip the right arm up, sending the hips up. And then releasing the hips to the ground. Okay, so turning onto your seat, extending both legs out long. Bend your left knee and crisscross it over the right. Hug the knee as you take a spinal twist to the left. Just stretching that outer hip, all that work that you did. It should feel nice. And then release that twist, hugging your right knee into the chest now. And we'll crisscross that foot over the knee, taking a spinal twist to the right. And then release that twist. Extend both legs out long in front of you. Inhale, grow tall through the crown of the head. Exhale to hinge forward at the hips. So you can grab onto the backs of the knees, the shins, maybe the toes, but the trick is to keep that spine as long as you can. And then release that hip hinge, bending both knees. Okay. Take the hands back behind you. So you're kind of in like reclining the upper body. Take your knees off as wide as the edges of your yoga mat. So I'll turn to face you. We're going to drop both knees down toward the ground. Try to keep that hip pinned down to the ground though. You're going to feel some mobility in the hips, so maybe some tightness here. And then back up to center and then drop down to the other side. So by keeping the hip pinned down to the ground, you're reducing the motion coming from the low back and actually getting into the hip joint itself. Okay. And let's do 3 more to each side, holding for a little bit longer. And of course, this might feel a little uncomfortable. We don't want to be causing any pain or pinching though, not forcing it. But you are feeling a deep stretch if this is something your body needs. And then back up to center, other side. Great job. Okay. Grabbing whatever you need to come down onto the ground, maybe socks or your sweater, because we'll set ourselves up for our Shavasana. So come right down onto your back. Grab onto your yoga strap. All right. And we're going to loop that yoga strap around the ball of the right foot, taking both ends in either hand. Okay. Straightening out that knee. Draw the toes up to the shins. Feel that length throughout the back of the leg. Couple of breaths here as you get into that motion of the back of the leg. Take both ends of that strap into the right hand. Pin the left hip down to the ground as you lower that right leg out to the side. Plugging in that right shoulder. And then release it back up to center, grabbing onto both ends of the strap with the left hand. Let's extend the left leg out long. Arm comes out into a T position as you take the leg across the body into a twist. And then release to come back up through center. We're going to switch out your legs. So step the left foot into that loop. Okay. Taking both ends of the strap, draw the toes up to the shins, trying to straighten the knee here. So even if that means your leg lowers down toward the ground. Taking both ends of that strap in your left hand, pin the right hip to the ground as you lower the left leg down and out to the side. Release back to center. Taking both ends of the strap with the right hand this time, extend the right leg out long. Arm comes out into a T position as you lower the leg across the body into a twist. And then release to come back through center, moving your strap off to the side. We're just going to counter that by doing a couple of bridges here. So walk the heels up to the hips. Inhale, sweep both hands up overhead as you send the hips up to the ceiling. And then exhale, release the arms and hips to the ground. We'll take that 3 more times. Inhale, sweep up overhead. Exhale, lower back down. 2 more. And then finally, take your arms out into a T position. Heel toe the feet out to the edges of your mat. Just rock the knees from side to side this time. No rules. We're just massaging the low back. And then take a moment to hug both knees into the chest, peeling the forehead up to the knees. And then exhale, release everything to the ground, extending right leg out, left leg out, palms turn up to the ceiling. Close the eyes if they aren't already. Begin scanning the body from the top of the head all the way down to the tips of the toes. Just checking in, seeing what feels good, seeing what needs to be released. What can you let go of in the body? Do you notice tension in the temples or the jaw, maybe in the shoulders? Or do you feel it more in the low back, the hips, pelvic area? And see what you can soften. What tensions can you let go of? Take a deep breath, the deepest breath that you could take in through the nose. And then exhale forcefully, just letting it all go. One more. Feeling a sense of ease, that out breath. Begin to return back to a normal state of breathing. Taking a few moments here in silence just to be with you in that breath. If your mind starts to wander, kindly bring the attention back to the breath, being present here now. And I invite you to rock the head from side to side, moving with ease, bending and straightening the elbows. And then find stillness of the head as you bend both knees. Rolling over onto one side, keeping that head heavy. And gently pressing your way up to a seated position. Crossing the legs, rooting down into the ground, sitting tall through the crown of the head. And just taking notice of that space that you just created, the hip, the low back, that mobility, strength. And take both hands to heart center, giving yourself a smile, showing some gratitude for showing up on your mat today. May you have peace in your thoughts, in your words, and in your heart, and from mine to you.